I need a quick deck fix. You see how it's spongy? That's what the wood looks like. It's that spongy. It went bad after just a few years. I got to take the deck down anyway, so I don't want to replace all the boards. Right now I'm just going to repair a couple of them. Here's a tip. Set your circular saw blade to the minimum depth so that you can cut existing boards without damaging the surrounding ones. Here's an example. You see you want to cut an existing board without damaging the other one around it. So you cut it through so it'll just come apart, but you didn't affect the structural beam underneath. It's like more efficient if you cut both angles at one time. However, I like to get one in at a time. That one will fit nice and snug, and then I'm coming over here to cut it. You probably already know this, but when you're going to cut something with a circular saw, you're going to want one side floating up in the air like that, because if not, if it's tight on that side and that side, the blade is going to bind and it's going to kick back, and that's a nasty feeling. And then it fits nice. Use the cutoff scraps for pieces that you might need instead of going to your full boards, because you might wind up with a perfect angle too. I'm not saying that feels like I hit a royal flush or 4 aces with a kicker, but I gotta tell you, it is satisfying. Here's another quick tip. If you need to cut a board in between two boards that you don't want to mess with, then cut the majority of the board with the circular saw. It's easier and it's straighter. And then when you get to the edges, because you don't want to mess with those boards, then use the multi-tool. I love this multi-tool. Don't even get me going on how 5/4 looks like this after just a few years. I like to do things as easy as possible. So instead of measuring the new deck board, it's got to go in that hole, I'll move it. It's overlaying where the angle has to go. That side is floating along. Mark your board. Run the line. Cut it. And put it in place. While that side is in there nice and snug, come down to the other side that's floating, right? I like to mark where the cut or where the line has to go. Mark the line, cut it in place, and it looks great, right? So much easier than trying to get an angle and measuring it and everything else. I like to do all the cuts first and then come back and screw everything in. I like to work with 2 drills. This one to do the ends so I don't split it. This one to screw in the screws. This is the finished product. It's a band-aid to the situation. So if you're in a jam and you got to replace some boards, or maybe they don't have enough at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, and you can only get a couple and you need to make repairs, this is the easiest way to do it. Ultimately, you want to repair or replace all the decking with new 5/4 or composite. Here's an interesting personal tidbit. I built this section of the deck. This side was always there. I built this section of the deck for my dad's 70th birthday party, which would have been 10 years ago. He's passed since then. And I am repairing the deck for Diane's dad's surprise 80th birthday party. Interesting.